report and just ask the question. Not in this context. In this context doesn't matter. Just get to the question.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Member, Minister, you are going to be as brief as possible in your introduction. And so with the answers.
Can you put the pages? At this time of the night, Chairman, colleagues, at this time of the night, I had a long opening statement, but I have aborted it. So, are there any questions?
There be no question. I now put the. Member Jess? Member Jess, you have the floor.
Member from Northeast, St. Elizabeth.
Mr. Chairman, my question is first. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My questions are actually very short, Minister. As it
Please, we only have 2 minutes.
As it relates to alternative dispute resolution, I note, Minister, that the allocation remains the same as in previous years, notwithstanding the Ministry's strategic goal of expanding the use of ADR mechanisms. And so my question, is this allocation sufficient to support the core objectives of increasing the use of alternative dispute resolution mechanisms?
You're talking about the subvention?
I'm talking about page 28,006 at under the heading Alternative Dispute Resolution, formerly dispute resolution. The figure remains 16.3 million.
No, this is a subvention we give to DRF and it remained constant. There's no reason, in fact, for us to increase it. As happened now, the DRF, when we give out mediation, they get 20% of all mediation. But the 16 million has been consistent over the last 10 years. And quite frankly, since I've been minister, I've been asking them to give back some value for the 16 million. So they do train a number of our JPs, in particular, in mediation.
Minister, please use the mic.
Sorry. So in a sense, it is a gift, should I put it that way, to the Dispute Resolution Foundation. But where we have other funds, we use it directly from the ministry to promote the social justice alternative dispute resolution.
So in other words, am I to understand you, Minister, that this allocation is not geared at actually assisting in improving?
No.
Very well. As it relates to alternative justice services, I note that there has been a reduction in the amount that is budgeted for subsidies, grants, and contributions. It's
a donor fund reduction, but in terms of what comes from the consolidated fund, it has actually increased.
Oh, I see.
And I can assure you, during the course of this year, with your help and the help of not only Parliament, all Jamaica, we're going to be pushing alternative dispute resolution because we think it is very important to get our people to really settle their arguments amicably, so that even though it may cost a little money, the more important thing is that we are going into the schools, we're going into the communities to get people to really learn to live with one another.
An area of concern, Minister, thank you for that, is the item in respect of legal aid services.
Legal aid?
Legal aid services.
No, but I can assure you, for the last 3 years, every claim. In fact, around now, we're begging attorneys to send in their certificates. I think we have paid out about 500. Huh? We have paid out 487, and we still have 100 and odd million for this year, and we're getting a similar figure for next year. We have always, this government, certainly over the last 3 to 5 years.
Permit me, Minister, but my question as it relates to legal aid services, it has to do with the reduction in the sum budgeted. Well, the slight, forgive me, the slight increase, really a minimal increase of 2%. Minister, just a moment. There is a slight increase. I understand the anxiety and the need to proceed quickly, but I think it's important, given one of the core objectives is to try and reduce the court backlog. And I note, Minister, that there has really been only almost a paltry increase of 2% in the budget for legal aid services.
Well,
and so my question is this allocation realistic to make any meaningful impact in reducing the court backlog by way of improving or increasing access to justice?
More than adequate. Truth of the matter is that it has increased over the last few years, so we have been able to pay all the claims for persons who engage in duty counsel attorneys or who take on legal aid cases. So I can tell you, if one attorney says that we owe them because they have not sent in their certificate, because we literally beg them, the head of the legal aid, Ms. Diane Watts is here, and I know around January, we literally tell all the attorneys, if you have a claim, send it in. And at this time, we have paid out over 400 million, and we still have money. If anyone has claims, they can send it in, so that the truth of the matter. And the truth of the matter is that this government, for the last 4 or 5 years, have increased the amounts, and that is why we have been able to discharge all the obligations, so that even a slight increase next year may not even be necessary.
And on that note, Minister, considering what you've just said, is the minister minded to make any form of provision to increase the areas that legal aid would actually cover, so that more persons can actually benefit, since there is sufficient funding?
I knew that was coming. The answer is yes. And if we do agree, and Cabinet does agree to increase the amount payable, then if necessary, we would seek additional sum at the supplementary level. But what we have budgeted for indicate that it is okay, but once we see how we discharge our obligations over the next 4 to 6 months, if there's an increase, then certainly it will come in the supplementary budget. What we are hoping that there will be an increase.
Thank you, Minister. Now, as it relates to the Clarendon Justice Centre, Minister, I'm winding down.
Yes.
As it relates to the Clarendon Justice Centre, I note that there is no provision in this year's budget for the construction of that centre. Is there a reason why there is nothing budgeted in circumstances where we had previously budgeted in excess of $90 million for the construction of that centre?
Truth of the matter is that what happened is that we were having some issues as to the location, so that it is now resolved, and in the supplementary budget it will come, so that we have put it up in the Hanover Justice Centre, and the Clarendon Justice Centre has been pending for the last 2 years because of location. But I think we have now found an appropriate location, and it will be dealt with in the supplementary budget.
Is the minister in a position to indicate what that alternative location, or where that alternative location is?
It's really clearing up some issues with NLA. So I cannot. It's the location is actually on Trenton Avenue in Clarendon.
I see. Minister, the estimate for the construction of the center, I note that it has increased from a little in excess of $90 million to 245, in excess of 245 million.
Which center?
That's the same Clarendon Justice Center, the estimate.
Well, that's the point. I mean, the location, and then.
Well, you said that's the point, but my question is actually, well, how was this cost projection actually determined? Because we're looking at really almost 150% increase. So how was that cost projection determined?
Well, after the location, everything has been identified, and the bill of quantities came. It has the final figure is coming from the bill of quantities. So
what led to the increase from 90 million to 245 million?
What it was the acquisition of the overall cost. Oh, from last year, the 90 million was just what would have been spent last year to acquire the land fully, and what could have been spent to mobilize. So the additional for this year is to start and complete the project.
Thank you, Minister. And finally, as it relates to the issue of jury, I'm really seeking some guidance, Minister, because we passed recently legislation which provided for almost a 300% increase in compensation being paid or payable to jurors. I'm not seeing anywhere in this budget, Minister, where there is any provision. And so my question is, what's the source of funding to provide for that, or is it just an unfunded mandate that is not supported by this budget?
Well, as you know, the Court Administration Division actually is the one responsible for payment to jurors. And because the matter had not been completed, they were unable to put in a budget. But once it is completed, then, as you will appreciate, there's always a supplementary budget around September. Once it is completed, then additional funds would have to be made available to the Court Administration Division.
Thank you, Minister. I have no further questions.
Member from Eastern Portland.
Minister, real quick, asking about the what was attributed to the Norman Manley Law School. It was a significant increase. I'm just asking if legal aid was contemplated, because the Norman Manley Law School, they have a legal aid clinic, if that was contemplated or it was just for educational benefit.
Totally. The reason for this significant increase, it was primarily because of the increase in salary. But they also, as you appreciate, pay the staff at the legal aid clinic at the Norman Manley Law School. So that covers it.
Thanks for that. Now, the ministry that you know have is merged with the former constitutional ministry. There is a line item that makes reference to rental of property. Just finding out if there was a downsizing, or it's just a relocation of the ministry.
No downsizing, because the Legal and Constitutional Affairs Ministry was at Fairway, and we still maintain that property.
Okay, thank you. Now, in relation to the judiciary, there was some minor decreases at a time when you hear the Chief Justice saying there should be an increase. And so there was a decrease of 2%, both for the Court of Appeal as well as the Supreme Court.
To be frank with you, these are matters that come directly from the Consolidated Fund. Ministry of Justice has very little to do with it. Once the independent commission that we set up, approve a salary, which is approved by Parliament, then it comes directly from the consolidated fund. I am not too sure why there should have been a decrease in it, but if there's a decrease at all, is there a decrease? Oh, my understanding from the Court Administration Division that manages this is that a few of the positions were unfilled and would be removed from the establishment.
Thanks for that. Final question in relation to the compensation of employees. It's significantly high. I'm just asking if they carrying on with the constitutional reform and the road to republic, if that's still an item for this ministry.
Absolutely. If you can convince your leader to just participate, we can move on with it.
Member from East St. Thomas. Member from East St. Thomas.
I have spoken to him on a few occasions, and I'm hoping that yourself and the member from Northeast St. Elizabeth, we can form a joint select committee quickly so we can move on with it.
I'm happy that you raised that, because my final question is in relation to the government's position on whether we retain the Privy Council or move to the CCJ.
I have said, and I will say it again. Once you agree to the Republic and the bill to be tabled in Parliament, the bill was tabled, we can fine-tune it. As soon as that bill is tabled in Parliament, together we will go to the people as to what the final quote should be.
Member from East St. Thomas.
Minister, one quick question. Is the purchasing of the Morant Bay courthouse still on?
Absolutely. And indeed, we have an agreement which is about to be signed, and no, that's a different one. But we're going to be, from the budget this year, we'll be paying out a substantial sum. And over the next 3 to 5 years, we will complete the payment. And I'm really hoping that before the end of this year, your court will be ready.
We now put the head to the floor. Head 28,000, Ministry of Justice and Constitutional Affairs, pages 1 to 10. Those in favor? Those against? Ayes have it. Head 28,000 C, Ministry of Justice and Constitutional Affairs, capital pages 1 to 4. Those in favor? Those against? Ayes have it. Head 28025, Office of the Director of Public Prosecution. Those in favor? Those against? Ayes have it. Head 28030, Administrator General Department, pages 1 to 5. Those in favor? Those against? Ayes have it. Head 28058, Judiciary, pages 1 to 6. Those in favor? Head 28031, Attorney General's Department. Those in favor? Those against? The ayes have it. Thank you very much, Minister, and your team. Foreign Affairs.